Peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome back to the Humble Servant Homestead, guys. Today I am out here down at the bottom garden, and yes, it is about that time for us to go ahead and start planting our potatoes. Now, like I promised you all, that yes, I am going to be taking you all along with me this year, planting these potatoes on out. Now, if you all watched the previous video from last year, you can go back and check that video on out and see how we went about planting our potatoes in these 2 rows right here. So needless to say, guys, yes, today we came on out here, and yes, we did plant it 2 rows. And so today, like I said, we are going to be coming back on in down here to finish planting out the rest of the potatoes. Now, if you all remember these beds right here, we had red kidney beans planted in those beds. And what we went ahead and did, we pretty much covered them on over, and later on down in the winter, I want to say, we went ahead and covered these beds with tarp. And as you all can see, these beds, they are weed free. Okay, so no further ado, let's go ahead and get into planting these potatoes right here. So I am also going to be going step by step, showing you all the whole process, so that way you all can go ahead and duplicate it. All right, so first what we're going to be doing, we're going to be taking up these drip tape from out of these beds right here. Okay, and so now that those drip tapes are up, because we don't want to poke them with our fork. Now, yes, I know I said I was going to be getting a broad fork, guys, but I have not pulled the trigger on that just as yet. So I'm still using my regular fork, which worked just the same. It's just that the space that we will be digging will be a little bit smaller. Your typical broad fork is about a 1.5 feet long, okay, or wide. So what we're going to be doing right here, where we have some of the thicker hay, we're going to just simply go ahead and pull that back on into the bed, just like that, into the rows. Yes. And if you all also notice the discoloration of some of the soil in this area right here, is because when I did come on in to cover these beds with the hay, it was actually hay mixed in with a little bit of goat manure. So all throughout that time while I covered these beds right here, nutrients was just leaching on inside of the beds, guys. Okay, all right, so now that we have this hay here pulled on into the walkway, now what we're going to be doing right here is pretty much using this fork just to loosen the soil, just like that. Okay, so the reason for coming in and also loosen this soil, we have to remember that potatoes is a root crop, and so we want that soil to be somewhat loose once they get ready to start putting out the food, guys. Okay, so we don't want it to be too compacted once it get ready to start bearing fruit. Okay, but overall this soil is pretty loose. It's pretty nice and loose, which is exactly what we are looking for. And also, of course, with all the organic matter that is in the soil that came in with the goat manure and the hay, yes, we do have earthworms that also helps to aerate this soil right here. Also putting in Also putting in worm casting, guys, as they go through and eat on the organic matter in this bed right here. All right. So as you all see the process, just go ahead and stay tuned. We will be right back. Okay, and now that I have this soil broken up or loosened up rather, now it is about that time to move on to the next step. So now let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, and so here I am back. Of course, we have our drill here. And also this right here, what it is, it's like a little bit that's going to help us to make some holes in the ground to plant our potatoes. Absolutely. If you all remember last year, we did use our post hole digger to make the holes, guys. But of course, with us digging all that dirt out with the post hole digger and putting it back inside of the walkway, that right there did kind of give us a little bit of extra work. And when you're here on at the Humble Servant Homestead, one of the things that you will learn is that we will work smart and not hard, guys. So I went on out and got this bit right here that's going to help us to make some holes. Okay, so come on, let's go ahead and do it. Now, another thing, if you remember, like I said, planting more potatoes with less space, okay? Because our whole goal is absolutely, if you come on out here to plant something, you want to pretty much utilize your whole garden bed so that way your yield can increase, okay? If I was just to come on in and plant one potato in this big old bed right here, I probably will walk away with maybe about, depends on how they do, maybe 20 pounds of potatoes. Could be a little more, could be a little less. So we are going to go ahead and put quite a bit of holes in this bed right here. Now, what we're going to be doing, the holes that we will be putting in, guys, will be 1 foot apart, okay? And with them being 1 foot apart, that right there will give us enough space to go ahead and plant quite a bit of potatoes. All right, so this is it right here. We're going to get started. Okay. All right, and so the depth that I'm going down with these potatoes, because yes, I will be coming in also to add in my amendments inside of this hole. So I'm going down right at about 10, 8 to 10 feet, inches down in the ground, okay? And so that right there is pretty much it. As you all can see, it's just a hole just like that. But stay tuned. I will show you all the next step as we go. All right. So and if I was using that post hole digger, like I said, I would have to be putting that dirt somewhere in the walk space. All right. And you can tell that I did hit the basin down there in the soil with this drill bit, but that is totally fine because my amendments will be going down there. Okay.
How can we tell you hit the basin?
How? Because, well, the way how you can tell, if you notice up here on the top, you could tell the coloration of the soil on top, and further on down, you can see the Georgia red clay or the sandy loam soil. This is more of a clay down there. This garden bed down here is made up of mostly sandy loam soil, but I guess as you go down deeper, you start hitting clay. All right. So Here we go. Remember, we're going a foot, 1 foot apart. Okay. Just like that. Okay. And so you pretty much get the gist of what it is that we are doing here. We're pretty much just drilling a whole bunch of holes in this bed right here, guys. All right. Now, don't get me wrong. There is other ways that you can go about planting your potatoes. But like I said, this year, we will be doing it the same way how we did it last year. All right. And that is us putting holes in the ground just like this. But also, you go ahead. What we're going to do now, while I'm drilling holes, I have my son down here with me, and we're going to have him to help us with the next step. Stay tuned. And so, yes, I am actually still in the process of drilling holes, but I have my help down here with me, guys. Like I said, come on, Bubs. So while I am still drilling holes, guys, what I am going to be doing, I'm pretty much going to have my son go ahead. If you all remember that beautiful if you all remember that beautiful wood ash that we made round back, this is where it's going to come in handy, guys. All right. And what this wood ash is going to do, guys, it's going to add in that potassium that potatoes absolutely love. Also phosphorus and some trace minerals in this garden area right here. So pretty much we have this cup right here, and this is about the size. Let me see here. This is 4-ounce cup, and this is about how much potash will be going inside of one hole. Okay, so we put that on in just like that. Just dump it on in, guys. Okay, just like that right there. All right. And so that's what I'm going to have my son doing while I am still working. And when we finish this on up, yes, we will move on to the next step. Come on, son. Okay. And so that right there is it for this bed. We absolutely got all the holes finished up. Now it is that time for us to go ahead and add in the rest of our amendments, guys. Now let me grab that for you. And here we are. That amendment that we have to put in these beds is that stinky stuff, guys. It's that chicken manure. Absolutely. And so what we're going to be doing, if you all remember last year, this is one of those manure that I'm always using here on the homestead. Yes, I do have my own chicken manure that I can use, but of course, you know, it is not as loose as this. Now I can come on in and broadcast it on top of the bed, which it should be some chicken manure in here from last year, but absolutely the nutrients from that chicken manure have already been used up and may washed away on down in the ground. Okay, so what I'm going to do, give me the cup, son. And so, yes, I am going to be using the same cup for measurement. And what I'm going to be doing is just like that right there. Now, this manure will go inside of that hole right there. All right. Now, like I said, these holes, how deep they are, is right at about 8 to 10 inches deep. But with these, I went a foot deep because the reason for that is because I did came on and add in the the wood ash and also the manure, guys. So I did went in a little bit deeper. Okay, and so we're just going to go ahead on down the line here and add in our chicken litter. All right. Okay, and yes, I ran out of this bag, so I just sent my son for another one. Of course, with adding in this fertilizer right here, guys, because yes, that wood ash don't have any nitrogen in it, and that is pretty much mostly what I am going for is the nitrogen out of this fertilizer right here, which yes, it do have your NP and K. Okay, let me see here what the NP and K is. Well, you have, I guess, 3, 4, 4. So 3% nitrogen, and also 4% phosphorus and 4% potassium. Now that is what your NP and K is, guys. All right. So yes, that's what it is. The nitrogen in there is actually pretty low, but we're not worrying about that right there. And stay tuned. I will show you guys why I'm not worrying about it. Okay. So let me go ahead and finish these rows on up, and I will be right back. Okay, and so now that we have these holes filled with the chicken manure, I just want to kind of give you all a quick look down inside of the holes and what it is looking like. Like I said, 8 to 10 inches deep. Okay, so that right there is right at about 8 inches. Could be going on about 9, guys. So now we're going to go ahead and start dropping in our potatoes. Okay, that is our potatoes right there. Now, one of the thing is when you put this potato in, sometimes you may have potato chits or eyes in different direction on this potato. One of the thing is that you want to try and do is to make sure when you put them on in that your eyes is facing up. Okay, don't put the eye down on the dirt like that because you may end up without any potatoes, guys. All right, so we're going to go ahead and drop this potato on down in the hole right here. We're going to push that on down just like that. Okay, now this is a big one. The reason why we didn't cut it is because there was no eyes coming out from the sides. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and sit this one down in just like that. And yes, absolutely. I know you may be saying, hey, you're resting the potato right on top of the manure. Absolutely, guys. Because one of the thing is, once I come on in and water this manure, you know, and the sun is not hitting it directly, it won't burn the potato. Okay. Once I come on in and add the rest of stuff on here, it's going to keep that soil real nice and cool. So I don't have to worry about it burning the roots of the potato. Okay. So that's that. Now here go this other one that both eyes is facing this way. So we're going to make sure that those are facing on up, just like that. Okay. And just placing them on down, just like that right there. Because I want this process right here to go by pretty smooth. Now, one of the things that I'm not going to do, I'm not going to come back on in and put this dirt on top. Now, I can put this dirt back on top. That will not hurt anything at all. But what I'm going to be doing, the compost that we make here on the homestead is what I am going to be using to fill those holes in with. Now, the reason for that is because this right here is real nice and loose, guys. Yes, this is goat manure that has been sitting down on the property for about a year. Now, look at this. This is some beautiful, beautiful soil. This is goat manure and hay mixed in together, piled up into one spot and break down over a period of time. I would say a cold breakdown, okay? Every now and again when I check, I do see some heat in it, but I don't turn it whatsoever. I just put it there and let it sit and do its thing. All right, so the worms help to break it down, the microbes, the roly-polies and all that different kind of stuff. All right, so and yes, this should still have some trace of nitrogen in it as well, but that's what that is. So we're going to go ahead now and look at that. Like I said, the worms, look at that. You can just imagine all the worm casting in this dirt from all these worms right here, guys. We'll just throw him on the bed. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do is pretty much show you all the step that my son is going to be doing. Like I said, this dirt is real nice and loose and fluffy, and we're just going to go ahead now and get a handful just like that and throw that right there on that hole. Okay, and any clumps that we come across, we'll just go ahead and break that up. Now, what this loose soil is going to do for this potato, absolutely, like I said, it will help to release some nitrogen back into the soil. But once those chits start to break and come on up, it make it real easy for them to emerge out of the soil. So that is why we are using this, I guess you will say, compost. Okay, and I'm telling you, I just love the way how it looks, guys. All right, so let me go ahead and start putting the rest of these potatoes on in the ground, and I'll let my son go ahead and start with the next step. All right, come on, son. All right. Okay, and that right there is the last of the potatoes for these holes right here. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is finish up with these holes, and yes, stay tuned, we will be right back so we can finish these beds on up. All right, so stay tuned. Okay, and guys, that right there, all the holes are pretty much filled. Now, one of the things that I want to also go ahead and state, if you don't have, of course, this kind of compost like I have here, you definitely can go out to the store. You have different brand of compost that are out there. When you go to buy, it's all of your prefer, whichever one you want to use, and you can use that right there to fill the holes if you decide to plant your potatoes this way. Now, if you are planting in your raised bed, 9 times out of 10, you already have real nice, loose black dirt in your raised bed. You can simply just, hey, you could simply just go ahead and use that same dirt back in the hole. Just make sure that you amend your hole before you go about planting your potatoes. All right, so now that this step is all completed, guys, now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step, and I will explain to you all that next step right there. So come on along and let's go. Okay, and so here I am right next to some hay that we use in our goat pen. Now, this right here is just hay that the goats rejected. And once they reject it, they're not going to go back and eat it, guys. So a lot of this compost and stuff that you see I'm using here on the property, this is what it come from, okay? Goat manure and hay mixed in. All right. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using this right here for those potatoes. We're going to be using them pretty much for bedding for the potatoes, helping the potatoes to stay cool in the late spring while the sun is getting real hot. So that is what this right here is going to be for. And also, just in case, say for instance, if a potato were to grow on top of the dirt, this right here will help to shade out the sun from hitting that potato, therefore turning it green. And once that potato is green, guys, it's pretty much toxic and you don't want to eat that potato. Okay, so that's pretty much what this is for. Like I said, to keep the potatoes cool and also to shade the potatoes. And also what this is also going to do, any potato that run on up and decide to even put potatoes on out inside of this hay, it will be there for that. Another reason why we also use it too is because we will not be coming in to hill these potatoes, guys. And that's the reason why I also planted them so deep. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to pretty much put a very thick layer of this hay on top of the potatoes. All right. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now, as you all can see, we're going to be putting at least about an 8-inch layer on top of these potatoes right here. Why, you may be wondering, hey, why are you putting that much hay on top of those potatoes? Because as time goes on, what's going to happen as those roly-polies come on in, guys, and those worms start eating off the manure and also the hay, and the rain and the element, pretty much start hitting on this hay, it's going to drop. Okay, so that is the reason why I am putting quite a bit of it on top of these potatoes. All right. And so all that hay that I scraped off in these rows right here, now what I'm going to also do, I'm going to scoop that back on up, put that right back on top of those bed right there, guys. All right. So yeah, it wasn't going to go to waste. All right. Yep, that's the last of it. Let me go ahead and get all that little goodness out of that wheelbarrow. Now that goodness that I pretty much just took out of the wheelbarrow was goat pebbles, guys. Okay? Because hey, if you all didn't know it, now you know. Anything has to do with your small ruminants animals, goats, sheeps, and of course, your cows. Those are not small ruminants, but cow manure also goes a long way, guys. Remember when I was a young man coming back up in Jamaica, I remember going out into the fields and collecting cow dungs for planting. Okay, so a lot of this stuff that you see I'm implementing here, believe it or not, as a little boy, was things that I see farmers do back home. And of course, because I'm not going to come before you and act like I didn't learn this stuff from somewhere. I did. Okay, any teacher that come out and teach you, they have to be taught first before they can come before you and teach you. Okay, and so that is pretty much yeah, that's pretty much it. And I am always forever learning. I I am an unfinished written book. Okay, or I am a unfinished book that is still being written in on the pages. Okay, so as you all can see right here, this is actually the finishing touch. Now I have to come on in and put my drip system on top. Now, speaking of drip system, guys, if you are growing potatoes, potatoes don't like a whole bunch of water. They like just enough water to get them through the growing season. If you put too much water on these potatoes, you will have deform shaped potatoes. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Don't overwater your potatoes. You don't have to come out here and water them every single day. Don't do it. Okay, you will mess your potatoes up. All right, so and even with us also coming in with the hay on top, that right there is going to limit me watering these potatoes every day anyway. I may just let the rain water them. If a couple of weeks or a week is passing by where there's no rain, then I'll come on in and sprinkle some water on top of them to give them a drink. All right, so as you all can see, we have 3 rows here completed, and we have another 3 to 4 rows that we have to do. Okay, so yes, my work is cut out for me. I am going to go ahead and start on another row today before the day is run out, all right, or before we get nightfall. But as you all can see, guys, this is pretty much the step that we did here. We did it last year. We're doing it this year again. Like I said, there are different ways that you can, yes, plant potatoes. You can run a furrow in the ground and you can plant them in like that. Come back on in and hill them on up. Once you see some greenery, right at about 4 to 6 inches out of the ground, you could come back on in and hill them. But with us planting them that deep in the ground already, putting this hay on top of them, we don't have to do any hilling. All right, so that right there is pretty much it right there for planting out our potatoes, or some of our potatoes, because the work is not finished just as yet. So that is pretty much it, guys. Just want to say thanks to each and every one of you all out there for stopping by the Humble Servant Homestead. And as always, peace and blessings to each and every one of you all out there. Remember, you keep a smile on your face, you be happy, you be cheerful, and you be blessed. Until next time, I will catch you all in another video. And I pray that this video was helpful. Go ahead, throw that thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe, guys, to this channel so you can keep on getting more content that can help your gardening skills. All right, have a blessed day.